Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dynasty Football Diner. I am your host, Dan, as always, joined by Mr. Carey. Carey, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It was a good weekend, some good games and stuff like that. Feeling good. I'm ready to get into it, brother.
So we are excited for y'all to join us today. Thank you for all you listeners, the day ones out there for the diner, coming in and supporting us, liking and subscribing. Catch us on Instagram at DFD_podcast, at YouTube at DFD Podcast, and on Spotify, DFD Podcast. We appreciate you if you go ahead and subscribe and like. That'll help the diner out so much.
Just look for our logo.
Heard that. So, what do you think about this weekend, dude? It was a pretty rough week of football. It seemed a little weird, a little sloppy. Got a lot of observations to make. What was your overall take about it?
Poor quarterback play. It was all over the place, really. People who everybody expected to do good did not, and people no one expected to do good did. Or well, no, I wouldn't say nobody, but it was uncommon.
Agreed. Okay, well, let's get right into it. I mean, first of all, let's go over just some general stuff. First of all, did you know Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator for Ohio State?
Why? No. Why would I know that?
I figured you probably don't care and wouldn't know, but I had no idea. That was something that I learned this weekend, was that Chip Kelly, the man, the Philadelphia Eagles head coach, the Oregon Ducks head coach, is now the offensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Dude, I got to tell you, it just goes to show you, with NIL and all the money being dealt around college football, dude, what a weird time we're living in the NCAA.
Yeah, I'm not overly big fan of that, but it was their decision to do it. They're making money. I mean, I believe the college players should get paid at the end of their, at the end of their time, not during their time, because it kind of, it just feels weird. It feels weird knowing that at any given time they can get offers somewhere else and hop ship, more or less.
No, I'm with you. With all the shakeout and the transfer portal and everything, I just couldn't believe that Chip Kelly, honestly, when I was listening to the broadcast, I thought that the broadcaster was making a mistake by calling the head coach Ryan Day by Chip Kelly. I thought he had it all messed up. And then I found out that Chip Kelly actually is the offensive coordinator. They showed him up in the booth, and I was just surprised by that.
Yeah, that's funny. I got nothing on it. I give two squats about Ohio State.
That's right. So, just catching everybody up on me and Carey's team. We went 1-0 this week.
The DFD, baby.
We had a triumphant week in fantasy. Well, Carey, you had a triumphant week in fantasy.
Did I?
I did not. I, unfortunately, was taken down by the weirdness of week 1. How did you do?
So of my 7 leagues, I won 6 games. I think I mean there's a couple of pretty close ones, but I'm not trying to gloat and toot my own horn, but most of them were blowouts. Me and Dan actually went head to head in the leagues, and I got him by 4 points or something like that. So,
I was planning on getting to that.
Oh, my bad, dog. You're on top.
I lost to you by 4 points.
Yeah.
Kincaid scored 2 points. Likely and Juwan Johnson both on my bench. It would have been way different.
What, dude?
But this is how it goes. Listen,
yeah.
To all you people, to all you diners out there, we are not going to freak out over week 1. Okay, I refuse. Now, I will say in a different league, in our Superflex league, we both hung 150 plus points. I think we were the only two to do it, but literally we both hung 150 plus. So kudos to us on the Superflex.
I was the number one. I was number one. You're number two. Yeah, we were the only two. You're right.
And then just so, just to be a man of the people, I just got to share a little thing, right? I was in full tilt in our home league because in 2 games, I had Isaiah Likely on my bench for 31 and Jaden Reed on my bench for 33. It didn't matter because I got blown out anyway. It wouldn't even have mattered. But these are the type of things that make you really tilt. In the other league, I had Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Olave, and Amon-Ra St. Brown combine for 6 points. I lost by 2. You want to talk about a tilt? The person I was playing against, he had Brock Purdy. And I was just watching Brock Purdy dink and dunk his way down the damn field to Jordan Mason, of all people. And I was tilted. I'm sure you went 6 out of 7, so you didn't have to deal with any tilt this weekend, did you?
Not really. The game I lost is because of a couple things, but Joe Burrow got the ball on me.
Joe Shiesty.
Yeah, Drake London and Evan Ingram, they just did not do good. Well, I have 2 on my bench and Ramondre Stevenson on my bench and Jordan Mason on my bench. It's just a lot of hurt feelings.
A lot of hurt feelings. That's the best way to put it, bro.
Yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but can't win them all.
That's right. And it's week 1, people. Let's all,
take a breath.
Take your nugs, roll them in a zigzag, and let's relax, okay? It is just week 1, and we have 16 more weeks ahead of us, which I am totally pumped about. By the way, Kendrick Lamar, Super Bowl halftime show. What you think?
I like Kendrick Lamar, but isn't a Super Bowl in New Orleans?
They really shysted Lil Wayne, right?
They really did.
I mean, he is the spokesperson. He had a whole decade to himself, right?
Yeah, they really should have.
And the tricky part is that with Drake, Drake is Lil Wayne. I don't know if they're still. I don't keep up with this stuff. I leave that to the young people. I let my son fill me in on that, but like. It's just, it got a little messy. It just feels like if he's going to go up there and run the diss track for the Super Bowl halftime, I don't know, dude. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah. But I thought it was kind of a slap in the face to an amazing artist as Lil Wayne. I mean, it was his time, and they gave it to the guy who was beefing with his record label. Anyway. I think Lil Wayne should be there. I will enjoy Kendrick Lamar regardless. So it'll be a fun time.
All right, diners. Let's take some inventory.
Oof, boy. And do we got some. I got some tidbits here for everybody. And here's the news. The 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey missed Monday's night game. I'm sure everybody knows that now. It was with what was known as an ankle injury at the time. Head coach Kyle Shanahan revealed that McCaffrey suffered from Achilles tendonitis, which can linger as pain and burning around the Achilles muscles. For those who don't know, like me, ESPN's Adam Schefter said prior to Monday Night Football that there is a strong possibility that Christian McCaffrey misses week 2. So this is something to keep an eye on all week. Check and see how he does in practices, if he's practicing and things like that. So,
side note, did you see how awkward Jordan Mason was on probably the highest he's ever been in his life? They catch him right coming off the field after he dropped 143 on the Jets. And he said, yeah, I knew I was playing since Friday.
Yeah, but didn't the coach do something similar to that back when he was, I think, on the Falcons or something like that, some 100 years ago?
All these teams are doing this, bro.
Man, but you dropped the ball on that one, brother. We all know who's running extra laps.
We know that.
All right, moving on. The Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson is
Done.
new allegations of sexual battery and assault from an incident that took place in 2010. So on top of what the 23 allegations he got hit with a couple years ago, here's another one. Let's round it off for him. Bills quarterback Josh Allen has been cleared to play in Thursday's night game against the Dolphins. Head coach Sean McDermott said Allen's injured left hand in week 1, but was able to play through it. He was listed as a full participant in Monday's estimated practice report. So take that as you will. It's just his left hand. He throws right-handed, so he might not run as much because of his hand, but who knows? It's Josh Allen.
Did you see him hurdle the guy for a touchdown?
No, unfortunately, I did not get a chance to.
Dude, it was literally like a track meet. Dude, and he hurdled the man for a touchdown.
Dude, that's a classic Josh Allen move, dude. He did that a few years ago, and they named a street after it.
True. That's a good point.
So, moving on, Bears wide receiver Roma Dunze sustained an MCL sprain in Sunday's win over the Titans. He's now week to week, according to multiple reports. These kind of things are something you need to pay attention to because it is only a sprain, but that is something that's going to linger for a few weeks. So that's just something you need to watch. I wouldn't start him for like the next 2 or 3 weeks, but I also don't own him. So on any of my teams. Wide receiver Puka Nacua, and this one hit real close to the heart. He's on IR. He is dealing with a PCL sprain that he reportedly hurt in a more significant way against Detroit, which he obviously was going into the game injured from the offseason. He will miss at least 4 games. We had a Dynasty startup. My first wide receiver off the board in the second round was Puka Nacua, and he immediately let me down because last year my first wide receiver off the board was Garrett Wilson, and his quarterback, what's his name, old guy, what can I remember?
Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers immediately left out of the game. If I ever do another startup, I am not taking a wide receiver in the first or second round.
I was going to suggest that. Are you going to change your draft strategy?
Yeah, it's going to be quarterbacks and running backs or something. I don't know, man. That's just unlucky. All right, moving on. Darius Slayton is in a concussion protocol, so if you have him, that's 1 week.
Who?
Darius Slayton.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Hey, the news is the news, buddy. It writes itself. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid said Monday that wide receiver Marquise Brown Hollywood is feeling better and getting close to a return. Week 2 or 3 has looked like Brown's most likely return date since he suffered a shoulder injury. Let's see, going down here. Cowboys tight end Jake Ferguson is another one to watch. Only sprained his MCL. This is the news that I have of right now. This is approximately a 1 to 4 week recovery for Ferguson. So if you have him, pay close attention to his practices. I probably wouldn't expect maybe 2 to 3, probably 3. If they're smart, they hold them out till 4 unless they need them.
Let me jump in here real quick.
Go ahead, man.
I forgot to mention with Puka Nacua, I was looking at this like medical guy who's involved in football, and I will say one thing of note: the re-injury risk for Puka Nacua, even when he comes back, is extremely high, like way higher than normal. So if I'm a Puka owner, I am doo-dooing in my pants right now because you're going to sit him on the bench for 6 weeks probably. And then the next 8 weeks, you are going to have Dingleberry City hanging from your butt crack, waiting to see if every hit his knee is going to go out. It's just not, it's an uncomfortable position. It's like when you don't know how to cook an over easy egg. You might crack a bunch of eggs and they might turn out right, but at the end of the day, it's not right.
Look, dog, can't make an omelet with a few cracked eggs. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying because I think he had a bursa sac issue or something in his knee going into the game, and now this. So
But that's what they said. It could have been a bursa sac plus a ligament issue, and when you mix the two, nobody likes a ligament sack.
No one wants a burst sack either, but here we are. All right, moving on. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reports that the Browns tight end David Njoku is feared to have suffered a high ankle sprain.
Oh, boy.
This is not good news. It hasn't been 100% confirmed yet. But if it is a high ankle sprain, you're looking 6 to 8 weeks of possible missed time, depending on how well he gets back to it. And that sucks because David Njoku's already been through it, and he is super talented. And I love the guy. I love watching him play. He's explosive. He's fun. And he's just good. He's just really good.
One of my favorite players on the Browns.
Yeah, and the Browns. Let's be honest, the Browns could not go with this. You know what I mean?
We didn't need this.
No, yeah, that's it. Didn't need it. Last but not least, Ken Walker suffered an abdomen injury late in Sunday's
bone?
Yeah. Abdomen injury late Sunday night. His injury history includes sports hernia surgery back in 2022, a groin injury in 2023, and an oblique injury in 2023. So this is an ongoing issue. Dude's got weak abs, man.
Is it a groin injury or a groin injury?
Yeah, it's probably both now.
I bet. Fantasy managers are groaning.
Right.
It's probably nursing a groin.
Oh, yeah. And that'll do it for the news.
All right. Thank you, sir. Wow. What a week one, huh? All right. Well, let's just kick off, some observations and some fun stats from week one. First of all, I just need a minute, Diners. Okay, this kickoff, the new NFL kickoff, I just don't know what to think. Okay, now we did have one kickoff return for a touchdown. That was pretty dope. But I just wanted to give you guys some things that I learned for the first time when I was watching on Sunday. Okay. And now, Carrie, I'd be interested to see if you knew this going into it. Okay. First of all, this whole target zone, weird. So, but I get it because they're having everybody look at each other 10 yards away from each other as the ball's kicked. So I get it. Now, if the kickoff lands in the target zone, it must be returned. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay, see.
We failed to mention it Monday, or last week one, but yeah, you have to return it.
I did not know that. So that was kind of a mind-boggling thing to me, is that they're forcing you to return it. Now, the second one that I noticed is that if the ball is short of the landing zone, it's a flag as if the kicker kicked it out of bounds. So that means that the receiving team gets to take it from the 40-yard line just if the kicker can't get enough leg behind it to get it in the target zone. Super weird to me, dude. I mean,
if you can't kick it that 40 yards to the target zone, then you probably shouldn't be out there.
Well, dude, you're right. I mean, you're right. These were things that as I was watching the game, I was like,
That's fair.
Just things that make you go,
That's fair.
It's like, it's just weird. But, it's week one. Everything about this week one was weird, dude. So that's just kind of where I'm at with all of it. Moving into the games, let's start with the Thursday night game with Baltimore and Kansas City. I mean,
yeah, that was something, dude. There's a lot of penalties called on the Ravens. Then you go look at Kansas City. You go watch replays if you want to, but they got players jumping before the ball's high. They got people way back, just like Ravens said, and they didn't call anything for it. I like Kansas City. I like the Ravens, but Kansas City clearly gets favored calls, and it is what it is at this point. It's been like that for years.
Well, if the Diners listen later on in the pod for the nugget of the week, I'm going to address some penalty stuff. I will tell you, yes, Baltimore, they did get hit up for quite a few penalties. Everybody's making a big stink about it. But in a way, I get it. We'll get into that later. But my main observation was, I really think Kansas City's ready to three-peat. Nobody's ever done it. They all seem extra motivated. And to me, after week 1, dude, it is so hard to bet against the Chiefs. I don't know, man. It just screams three-peat to me. And, no matter what the script says, maybe not, but I think that this is a team full of darlings that everybody loves, and it just seems set up for success for the Chiefs. Do you agree?
I believe it's set up for sure. But I mean, they won 27-20. Okay. That's how they won. They won 20-27. But like I said, it's an unfair advantage that the refs call these penalties one way. They never call it towards the Chiefs. And the last time they called the Chiefs on a penalty they deserved, Patrick Mahomes threw a fit. And they never called it again. And it's just that's my observation on Chiefs. I do love watching them play. I do. But if you're going to call the penalties, call them on everybody.
Fair enough. I got one more observation.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Listen, before the season even started, in every single league I'm in, I tried to trade for Isaiah Likely because my take was that I thought he was going to be more like a receiver next to Zay Flowers, kind of like a 1A, 1B. So I tried. It was successful in a couple leagues. I was able to acquire him. I was able to draft him in a league. After watching that game, dude, I swear, I think Isaiah Likely might – it's a different position. But he is right there, 1A, 1B with Zay Flowers, dude. It was a literal big toe from them winning the game. And that they tried everything they could to stop him, and they just couldn't. I think Isaiah Likely is ready to just erupt.
Better wear white cleats.
Well, good point.
No, here's the thing. For the last few years, they've had Isaiah Likely, and every time he's played when Mark Andrews gets injured, he's done well. Last year, he was blowing up towards the end of the season. But a lot of people are freaking out about Mark Andrews right now because, he did not perform well against the Chiefs. But historically, the Chiefs have shut him down. They bracket defense him. They 2-on-1s him. They did shut him out. 2018 to 2024, they have held him to under 5 receptions. Under 5 receptions in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their last meetings. 2018, he was 0-2. 2019, 3-6, 15 yards. 2020, 3-8 for 22 yards. 2021, 5 for 5, his highest ever, 57 yards. 2022, they didn't play. 23, it was 2-2 for 15. 2024, 2-2 for 14 yards. Can you guess how many touchdowns he's gotten?
I would guess 0.
He's got none. It is historically accurate to say Mark Andrews gets shut out by the Kansas City Chiefs. You shouldn't panic on him. Yes, he got banged up, and he probably was not feeling his best coming into this week. But it's something to keep an eye on because that is that's Lamar's favorite target is Mark Andrews, and he couldn't get him to him because this is what the Kansas City Chiefs do. If you have Mark Andrews, you trade him now, you're trading at his floor value. I would hold on to him. I'd give it at least 4 or 5 weeks. And then you can, make your decision then after he's, hopefully healed up by then. I'm going to say this is an outlier game for Isaiah Likely for right now, because as long as Mark Andrews is in the game, there's always a chance that he doesn't get these kind of targets and stuff again.
I agree. When I was watching that game,
it looked bad. It looked
really bad. Did. And with Steve Spagnuolo,
blocker.
I remember him being the head coach for the St. Louis Rams back with Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
And he looked like a complete doofus. And then he just went and got with Andy Reid. And now that he's only doing defense, man, that dude is with it. He is with it. All right, let's go. Let's move on to Green Bay and Philly.
Well, hold on now.
Okay, my bad. Still finishing that cup of coffee before I clear it?
Yeah, so the way things are working for the listeners out there is that Dan's going to hit some information and some observation and stuff. I'm going to hit you some stats here. All right. Lamar Jackson went 26 for 41, 273 yards in the air, 1 touchdown. He also hit you with 16 rushing attempts for 122 yards. So my man hit it with almost 400 yards and still lost this game. So you can't blame him. Derrick Henry had 13 attempts at 46 yards, 1 touchdown. That's great. That's, it's what we expected out of him. Zay Flowers hit him with 2 attempts for 14 yards. Then you have Justice Hill. Justice Hill 1 attempt for 3 yards, but Justice Hill also had 8 targets, 6 receptions for 52 yards. So this is one of the stats that we really like, is the receptions. A lot of people play PPR, but you got your half-point PPRs. Isaiah Lakely obviously crushed it. 9 receptions, 111 yards, touchdown. Zay Flowers out there was actually second behind Isaiah Lakely in targets with 10, 6 receptions, 37 yards. Derrick Henry also got some targets, didn't catch anything. Rashee Rice over there, 103.
And?
Yeah, 103. 7 receptions, 103. And the big news is the rookie Xavier Worthy. He only got 3 targets, but he got 2 receptions for 47 yards and 1 touchdown. But he also got a rush attempt for 21 yards and a touchdown. Pacheco, he did all right, 45 yards and a touchdown. And Mahomes did 20 for 28, 291 and a touchdown. Pacheco also caught 2 passes for 33 yards. Funniest part of this entire game, Patrick Mahomes, 1 target, 1 reception, 2 yards.
A triple threat.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right.
Oh, man. That was definitely one of the best games of the week. It came on the first night. It was opening night, but it was definitely one of the best games of the week. So.
I'm just going to say, because I watched the Patrick Mahomes catch, he looked uncomfortable out there.
I bet he did.
On the other side of that offensive line, he did not look comfortable.
I bet he did. Those Baltimore dudes look like killers.
Yeah, man. I'm moving into Green Bay. Green Bay and Philly. Friday night. Oh, by the way, I forgot to add this in the news. Jordan Love, he is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks unless he, heals a little bit quicker, but it's looking 4 to 6.
I'd probably, without pissing away their season, they're going to try to rush him back in 4. That's just my guess.
Yeah, they probably will. It'll probably be too soon, and it'll probably be the end of the season.
So Brazil, the Favas of Brazil. Listen, that field sucked. It's a soccer field. It sucked. I saw it looked like a freaking NASCAR pit stop on the side. You had 5 dudes with drills just drilling different cleats into the shoe. It literally reminded me of a NASCAR pit stop, dude. And you could tell in the first quarter, because it was terrible. It was ugly. It was painful to watch. And then you could tell that once everybody got the right shoes on and the right cleats, things started to pick up.
Boy, did they.
And I got to tell you, for Philly, that Kellen Moore offense, Kellen Moore took a lot of flack with the Chargers over the past few years, and that might have been because of their doofus head coach. I don't think Kellen Moore got a lot of credit, and maybe some undue criticism, because I don't think they had the right weapons and the right setup for it. But Kellen Moore has his stuff together, even back at Boise State. So now he's in this offense in Philly with, the likes of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Now you got Saquon. Saquon went off for 3 touchdowns, dude. That dude looked electric. And so, Philly, Philly, shout out to Eric. Philly is going to make a run. Philly's going to make a run. I needed to see it, and now that I see it, I kind of like them better than the last few years. Philly's dangerous.
They got old tree trunks out there, Saquon Barkley. A lot of people were like, oh, yeah, he's going to do good, but no one expected him to, explode the way he did with that offensive line holes like that. I did. I also thought they were going to pass more than they did, but they just came out there and just dominated.
Well, I got to tell you, in the Kellen Moore offense, usually the wide receiver number 2 thrives. Devontae Smith, real deal.
Yeah, 8 for 7, 84 yards.
I mean, and A.J. Brown still went 5 for 119 in the tutty. So,
yes, he did.
I mean, and Saquon plus 3, almost 4. Saquon almost had 4 touchdowns. Let's not get it twisted. So,
yeah, the Saquon Barkley definitely changes the way they're going to play because they haven't really had a rushing.
This is like vintage Saquon from Penn State.
Well, it's Saquon that they've always had. It's just the Giants.
The Penn State one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I just have to address the elephant in the room. Cincinnati Bengals. What the hell is happening in Cincinnati? Now, as a Cleveland guy, I have grown up watching Cincinnati be Cincinnati. And I will say, for the record, Cincinnati always starts slow, and then they catch fire about, 5-6 weeks in, and they put it together. So, but my key observation was that they don't have Joe Mixon to lean on. Also, no T. Higgins, but, that's nothing new. T. Higgins stays on the IR. So, I'm kind of worried about Cincinnati, man. Like Joe Burrow, everything, man, we're playing New England, which New England defense was solid. But dude, this was not good for Joe Shiesty and the boys.
No, it wasn't. Jacoby Brissett for New England had 7 rushing attempts for 32 yards. They let Jacoby Brissett get 32 rushing yards. But this is Ramondre Stevenson. 25 attempts, 120 yards, and a touchdown. He was eating them up. He really, really was. But Joe Burrow, you can't say he didn't have Jamar Chase. He played virtually the whole game, but he only got 6 targets.
Absent.
Yeah, or what?
Jamar Chase.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he played, he was absent.
Yeah, he caught 100% of his passes, 6 for 6 for 62 yards. But that was it. The next best receiver was, I can't remember, was it Iosavas?
Yoshevitz?
Yeah, there you go. Yoshevitz. He was 6 for 3.
Small.
Yeah, or 3 for 6, 26 yards. He had no one else to throw the ball to, and that's where the Joe Mixon came in, was somebody who can equalize that offense. He can catch those short passes and make yardages after it, and they don't have that right now. They're trying to figure that out. So until they can figure that out, I don't know what to tell you. They need to pay Jamar Chase because obviously Jamar Chase is just catching and going out. He's trying not to get hit. He wants that contract, man. Pay the man. Even though the Bengals have been notoriously bad about not doing this.
True.
It is what it is. Fun fact, who do you think the number 1 targeted wide receiver for New England was? I'll give you a hint. KJ Osborne.
Well, you're down bad. If the journeyman Osborne was your leading target receiver, but that speaks volumes. That means, listen, Ramondre, wheels up, you are taking off. If any of you can get Ramondre, let's go. They just paid the man in the offseason. So basically what this tells me is they paid this man to be the sacrificial lamb, and he is the offense.
3 for 3, 60 receiving yards.
Exactly.
This is exactly what you want.
Wheels up on Ramondre.
You want a heavy runner?
If you can.
You want a heavy runner that can catch the ball? Ramondre Stevens, your guy. You could probably get him for cheap right now if you can finagle your way in.
Not after this week. I'm going to wait till he was a down week.
You can argue.
I'm trying to finesse.
You can argue it was against the Bengals. Bengals defense is eh.
But that's not the perception. The perception was the Bengals were going to smash them.
Yeah, offensively.
Well,
and they didn't. Joe Burrow went 21 for 29. Granted, that's pretty good, 21 for 29, but it was only 164 yards.
Not with that blonde hair.
Nah, dude, it's not.
So moving on.
The tips.
Let's get to the subject I know you want to get into. Let's talk about Chicago and Tennessee. Because I already know that you had a half chub ready to get into this. Now,
Caleb Williams in one game, not him. It is not Caleb Williams. It is Justin Fields 2.0, which means he's twice as bad and twice as inexperienced. He went 14 for 29 for 93 yards. He rushed 5 for 15 yards. This is your number one overall pick. 0 touchdowns. 0 offensive touchdowns the entire game. Their defense won this game for them. The defense bailed them out hard. You say whatever you want to. I'm right, you're wrong. Caleb Williams, bust. I'm calling it now.
Chicago had no business winning that game.
Chicago's defense has no business being that good.
No, I think they're...
I didn't see that coming, but it's against Tennessee. Will Levis, who went 19 for 32 and 127 yards.
Chicago made some good defensive acquisitions in the offseason. Like, the defense is legit.
Their special teams made some plays. It was crazy.
That's right. But I will say, these are my observations. Caleb Williams, sneaky mobile. The dude can scoot if pressured. And frankly, I think they should pressure him a little more to run out of the pocket because the way that they constructed the offensive plan, not good, bro. It was painful to watch. My other thing, Tennessee should have won that game, but Will Levis pissed away the whole game. He threw an interception from his knees.
Yeah,
like he was praying to the Lord God Almighty.
Overthrowing players too with that cannon.
And clearly he didn't pray to the right God because he was on his knees and threw that pick. And boy, I tell you, all he had to do was just not do that. That's all he had to do was just not do that. He didn't have to do much more. Just don't do that. And he couldn't. So also, listen, Tony Pollard and Chig, boy, they look vintage. 2 years ago, going into last season, Tony Pollard and Chig were so high up on everybody's board. And then last year, they took a dump on everybody. I tell you, it kind of tickled my pickle.
Let me ask you this. How well do you think Chig did?
I mean,
he went 2 for 2, 15 yards, 1 touchdown.
That's right, but that touchdown looked good.
That was the only one in this entire game.
Yeah.
So, I'm just letting you know, he got the touchdown on 15 yards.
Yep, Chig looked good.
Now, if you say so, brother, I'll take your word for it. Fun fact, Will Levis had 4 rushing attempts. Tajay Spears had 4 rushing attempts. Who do you think had more yards? It's Will Levis, ladies and gentlemen. It's Will Levis by 15. Will Levis got 36. Tajay Spears got 21. On the flip side, though, Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears were also in on the receiving game. Tony Pollard was 3 for 4, 12 yards. Tajay Spears, 4 for 4. Calvin Ridley, 3 receptions on 7 targets, 50 yards. Tyler Boyd, 5 for 3. On the flip side of things, Keenan Allen was the most targeted wide receiver with 11. He 4 receptions, 29 yards. DJ Moore, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 36 yards. And then there's like 8 other people got passes. So,
yeah, it wasn't a good game.
No, it was not. It was.
And speaking of grossness, let me tell you something. One time I took over a kitchen, and it took me 7 straight days of cleaning because it was so gross. So when I think of 6 inches of grease stacked up behind a whole line full of equipment, I think about the Denver-Seattle game. This was so gross, dude. There might have been rats with pads on lined up out there just being sick, okay? It was so bad. Bo Nix did not throw more than 3 yards per attempt. This is terrible. And it hurts me too because Javonte, I'm a Javonte Williams fan. I'm scared. I am worried. Javonte, it might be time to throw that life vest out and be looking for life rafts.
Yeah, the second most rushing yards on the team.
Which isn't saying shit.
Behind Bo Nix.
Oh, God.
And for the record, Bo Nix had a 25-yard long reception play.
Oh, man.
There you go.
I will say to all the people, if you have not seen the clip, Kenneth Walker, go look this up on YouTube or wherever you're getting your videos, right? Kenneth Walker flipped the defender over him while getting tackled. The dude tried to tackle him. He literally picked him up with one hand on the ball, and flipped him over his body.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
It was really good. I did see that one.
You did see it?
Yeah, Kenneth Walker, baby, 100. In my notes, I have a Kenny Walker in the 103rd.
103rd what?
That's just what I got labeled because he got 103 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so Kenneth Walker, he did really well. But that's the thing about Kenny Walks. About week 5 is when you got to pay attention because that's when he gets injured. So, but Zach Charbonnet actually came in 8 attempts, 12 yards, so that's not bad. He got some runs. But he also got some receptions. DK did okay. He got 4 targets. Tyler Lockett got 7. Tyler Lockett actually 6 for 7 for 77. DK 3 for 4 for 29. Zach Charbonnet 2 for 3, 29. Cortland Sutton is the biggest bust of the day. 12 targets, 4 receptions, 38 yards. What do you think about him?
Dusty.
Yeah, that's not good.
All right, we've spent enough time on this game.
Yeah,
this game doesn't even deserve. Speaking of another game that doesn't deserve much talk, Minnesota and the Giants. First of all, the Giants jerseys, I kind of dig them. Everybody else was talking smack. I kind of dig them.
Garbage.
Okay. Minnesota's coach. This guy's good. I got to tell you. Last year, Justin Jefferson was hurt. He doesn't have Kirk Cousins. Like, this guy is good, man. After this game, I guess I left the game just trusting him a little more. And then my question to you is, did San Francisco fix Sam Darnold? Or was this just against the Giants? Where do you lean on that?
I mean, I hope they did. I really do. Because if this is just against the Giants, then 208 passing yards is not going to cut it. I mean, just so everybody's clear.
But he went 12 for 12 to start.
Yeah, he finished 19 for 24, which isn't bad. I mean, it's very accurate. I'll give him that. But it's also, it's not a long yardage behind those passes. But he did get 2 touchdown passes, so there is that. He got you some points for the week. I mean, if you need a streamer and you need a bind, I would pick him up right now because he has Justin Jefferson, who I believe is quarterback proof. So, fun fact, real quick, just so everybody knows, Aaron Jones, 14 attempts, 94 yards, 1 touchdown, still got it.
Love it.
Still got it. Still got 2 receptions, 15 yards. So, if you had any doubts and he's on your waiver, you can get him cheap. Get him cheap.
Speaking of still got it, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray looked electric. He looked great. He looks like old vintage Kyler. And also, James Conner touched the ball like 10 plays in a row. The first 10 plays, James Conner had the ball. So, man, Arizona's picking up right where they left off. They look good. They almost beat Buffalo. Marvin Harrison Jr., what a disappointment for week 1. I will say, though, he was wide open for a touchdown, and Kyler didn't hit him. It just seemed like Arizona, they just had Marvin Harrison Jr. do the cardiac, the cardio exercise, where they just had him running down the field all the time. get it together because he's really talented.
Yeah, they only targeted him 3 times. He got 1 reception for 4 yards.
They just had him running down the field, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the targets went to Trey McBride, Greg Dortch, and Connor. Honestly, it was a lot of short passes and stuff. Kyler Murray actually threw 21 for 31, 162 yards. He was also the number 1 rusher on the team with 5 attempts for 57 yards.
Okay.
But then you got big, thick Josh Allen on the other side, who, I'm going to be honest with you, started very slow, had a lot of people worried.
No, he did. The game looked shitty in the first half.
Came back around. He had 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, and he was just everywhere and everything all at once. Dawson Knox played. Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid both went 1 for 2. Knox 23 yards, Kincaid 11. What do you think about that? How do you think about that dynamic there?
Terrible. Opposite of terrible, CJ Stroud. He's so good.
God, is he?
Dude, he is so good. And here's a fun fact for you for Anthony Richardson on the other side of the field. You know he's only started 17 games in his life before week 1, including high school. Yeah. 17 games. And this dude is the starting quarterback for the Colts. And he came out here, and everybody's talking about this 70-yard throw off his back foot. But, dude, I'm telling you, if he can stay healthy and he gets more reps, like 17 games since high school, Kerry, that is wild to me, dude.
Dude, 9 for 19, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. That 70-yard throw came after he slipped, and I honestly believe it was all arm strength. It looked like a punt. He just hurled this thing out there. Awesome play. It was great. 9 for 19 is not so good, but he also rushed for 56 yards and a touchdown, and that's the fantasy value for him.
Dude, also, side note, Alec Pierce, WTF, year 3 breakout. I don't know, Doug. That seemed a little
This is an outlier for him because last year he was not good. He also was 3 for 3 for 125 and a touchdown because somebody threw a 60-yard dagger to him.
That's right.
Real quick on the other side, or sticking to the Colts real quick, just so everybody knows, Michael Pittman was targeted 8 times for 4 receptions for 31, so keep an eye on him. Richardson's been known to be a little bit inaccurate, but it's hard to tell when he's only throwing 19 passes a game. Adonai Mitchell was also targeted a lot. On the other side of things, Stephon Diggs, of the big 3, targeted the least. 100% catch rate. 6 for 6, 33 yards. Tank Dell, 7 for 3, 40 yards. And big time, my boy, funny story in the draft of our dynasty, I got Nico Collins because my stepson picked him. 8 for 6, 117 yards. Joe Mixon also out there mixing it up for 19 yards and 3 receptions.
Love that.
Also, just real quick, Joe Mixon, Tank Dell, Pierce, Stroud, and Diggs all had rushing attempts. Joe Mixon, 30 for 159, outlier. I would not expect that every game, but that's my boy, and I love him.
True. That is your boy. Man, we have so much more to get to.
Yeah, we're going to have to start speed rounding these. I'll just start naming off, stats and stuff that matter.
All right. Miami, Jacksonville. Look, Tyreek got detained. We've all seen the body cam footage by now. Dude came to the stadium an hour later, did nothing but put up 130 yards and a tutty. His TD celebration was great. He handcuffed himself and was detained by Jalen Waddle. Love that. Tua, number 1 in the week, same as last year, picked up right where he left off. So
338 yards.
This, quarterback 1 for week 1 after finishing last year as quarterback 1. This is something to look at. It's not just, a trend anymore. This is something we really got to take serious. Waddle's hurt all the time.
It was a head injury, and I got nervous it was a concussion, but he came back. Not only did he come back, but he came back 5 for 5 for 109 yards like he normally does. He also rushed for 3 yards.
That's right.
Top of that, Devon Achane, 10 attempts, 24 yards. Mostert, 6 attempts, 9 yards. But where Where Etienne really set off was his reception. 7 for 7, 100%, 76 yards. I mean, it just you don't get much better than that as far as a running back goes. On the opposite side, Trevor Lawrence struggled. Tank Bigsby, 12 attempts, 73 yards. So if you need a little extra depth in your running back, I'd pick him up. I have him in one of my leagues. ETN had 44 yards. I mean, that's Gabe Davis. If you know about Gabe Davis, 62 yards and 3 receptions. Brian Thomas Jr., rookie. Love this guy. Love his profile. Great. 4 for 4, 47 yards. Christian Kirk, don't know where he was. 4 for 1, 30 yards. Travis Etienne was in there. Mark Ingram was just absent. They just did not pass on the ball. And that's all I got to say about that game.
Speaking of absent, Deshaun Watson is dust. Listen, as the resident Cleveland guy, it really pains me. This dude is clearly not a good person off the field, and he's becoming very, very evident that he's not a good person on the field either. He is dust. Dallas is great, which, isn't saying anything new, but Dak quietly got the highest extension in the league. And so that seemed to just push him, right back into the spotlight. Cleveland had a lot of injuries. And, dude, Micah Parsons, he's so good. He had a sack. He tipped a ball for an interception. Hell, he might even have got an interception that I missed. This dude is the real deal. Also, listen, this kicker, Brandon Aubrey, dude, I don't know if you saw this, but he hit a 66-yard field goal, and they had a penalty.
I know. Tied the record. I thought they called a timeout.
They called a timeout.
They called a timeout right when it hit, the ice of
this dude, no. It was a penalty.
Was it? Oh, I thought it was a timeout.
But then they lined up for the 71-yard field goal, and then they called a timeout. And when they came back to the timeout, they went against it. But seriously, dude, I was so pumped to see him try the 71-yard. He gives me Justin Tucker vibes.
For sure. I don't play in leagues with kickers, but if you do, grab this guy. This guy he's serious. Get
him
He's got a boot.
Now.
He really does.
He can win you multiple weeks as a kicker. Like, go get him.
Just
on behalf of Cleveland, we're sorry, Baker Mayfield. We are so sorry, Baker Mayfield. We need you.
Don't know what you got.
That's exactly right, dude.
Y'all treated him so bad.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I'm a Baker fan. I've always been a Baker fan. I love Baker Mayfield.
You do. He was not Baker.
Pissed. I am legitimately pissed off after watching what he's doing and then seeing what we have rolling out there on a terrible contract. I'm so over it.
Perv boy.
A lot of the talk for Tampa was that Dave Canales went to Carolina to take the head coaching job, and he's the quarterback whisperer for Geno and Baker. And no Canales, no problem, dude. That offense is loaded. Now, they did play Washington. Washington is terrible. Their defense looks awful. But I will say, Baker did his thing. And, fun fact. Tampa Bay is the only team in the AFC South to make the playoffs 3 years in a row, and they did it twice. The only team in that division to ever do it, and they did it twice. Just a fun fact.
Just real quick, back on the Dallas game, for anybody who's wondering, Ezekiel Elliott did play kind of well. He has averaged 4 yards a run. Donald did well too. Just about everybody who received a pass also rushed as running yards on the Dallas side. Just a fun little fact for you.
Thank you. Another fun fact, Jaden Daniels looks like Lamar. Early Lamar.
Dude's got wheels, bro.
He's got wheels.
88 yards, rushed 2 touchdowns.
Okay, and then
real quick, Bucky Irving. If you got a
he looked good too.
Pick Bucky Irving up. He 9 rushes, 62 yards, and he also caught 2 of 3 passes for 14 yards. This guy is basically the rookie version of Rachaad White, just a little more effective or efficient.
Agreed. He looked good. Bucky Irving, I think he's going to be good.
Rachaad White also 6 for 6 for 75.
Heard that.
And he rushed 15 attempts, 31 yards. Not so efficient, but that's a known thing. Fun fact, Austin Eckler was in this game. 2 rushes, 10 yards. He was also the top receiver for Washington, 4 for 4 for 52 yards.
He was catching them balls.
That's what he does, man.
That's right.
Zach Ertz also 4 for 3 for 28. I know that was the top of discussion in certain circles. Terry McLaurin, he was out there. That's all I got to say about that. And 4 for 2 for 17 yards.
He, in fact, was out there.
He was a participant in this game. Mike Evans.
Cardio king.
Mike Evans still there. Mr. Dependable, 6 for 5 for 61. Chris Godwin, 8 for 8 for 83.
They put Chris Godwin back in the slot, dude. He thrives in the slot.
That was a name that people have been waiting to hear. So,
the Rams in Detroit, listen, this hurt my soul because this is on my main team. Amon-Ra, absent.
Yeah.
He called out for the game.
PTO hours.
Yeah, he was cashing in that PTO for sure. Stafford, 1 out of every 3 passes he made was to Cooper Kupp.
Listen, Cooper Kupp had 21 targets, which if you add together Detroit's top 3 targeted players together would equal what Cooper Kupp got at 21.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. 1 of every 3 passes to Cooper. Now, Nakua was hurt. But here's a fun fact for you. Last year, the Rams had 33 less sacks than the rest of the NFL. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
33 less sacks. And I'm telling you, they were taking it to Detroit. So that was kind of impressive. Now, I will say they got decimated by injuries. We can get into that, but I'm talking about offense, defense, everything. The Rams got obliterated physically. Well, I guess literally in that game that they had, which is kind of sad because I kind of like the trajectory that they were going.
Yeah, and just a real quick breakdown. Matthew Stafford went 34 for 49 for 317. This is old Matthew Stafford stats. Or old Matthew Stafford style. 1 touchdown. Kyron Williams, 18 for 50 for 1. Cooper Kupp was in the rushing game, 2 for 10. You like to see that. So was Puka, 1 for 7. But yeah, the main story here is Cooper Kupp. Johnson, I can't remember what his first name is, 7 for 5, 79. Parkinson, 5 for 4. The big story on the other side of the page here is David Montgomery, 17 for 91 for a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 11 for 40 for a touchdown. Williams, forgot he even played football, 1 for 13. Jared Goff even ran the ball. It was hilarious looking. So Williams was 9 for 5 for 121. Laporte out there, 5 for 4, 45. Gibbs and Amon-Ra both 6 targets. Gibbs 4 receptions, 34. Amon-Ra, 13 yards. And yeah, so if you want to take away anything from that, pick up Williams. J-Mo Williams.
Amon-Ra PTO. Get it, big homie.
Yo, Jameson Williams blew up.
It doesn't roll over to the next year, so you might as well cash in your PTO when you can.
But honestly, like for real, ladies and gentlemen, listeners out there, Jameson Williams, they talked about him all offseason, how they wanted him more involved. He got more involved, and he got 121 yards and a touchdown out of it. If you can, pick him on waivers or try to get him where you can.
And then the final game of the week, Monday night, New York Jets and San Francisco. I had a lot of observations from this game because there were so many questions, right? First of all, Garrett Wilson is the next Cooper Kupp for Aaron Rodgers. This dude is going to just look at Garrett Wilson first, second, and third every pass. Like, It's going to be very Cooper Kupp-esque with Matt Stafford.
And I'm here for it.
For sure. A-Rod or A-Rod looks motivated.
Discount double check, baby.
That's right. He looks motivated. He's a killer. And I'll tell you, here's a fun stat. He has 18 career touchdowns on free plays, which is 3 times more than anybody else. I watched it last night. The flag went up. This dude immediately is just looking end zone, and he hit it.
Yep.
I mean, the dude is electric, man. It was pretty amazing. But when I heard that stat, I'm like, what?
That's crazy, dude.
That means that the next person has 6 touchdowns. This guy has 18. That is wild to me.
That is wild, dude.
Jordan Mason looks legit. 28 carries, 147 yards. He was averaging 5.3 a carry. That was legit.
Absolutely.
Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall seem to be, as a tandem, the New York Jets funnel. I don't see any other way around it. These two dudes are going to get everything.
Let me tell you something. Garrett Wilson got 11 targets. Old man Alan Lazard got 9. He was number 2 targeted person on the team.
It came later, though.
It did come late. You're right. But it is an old friend of Aaron Rodgers. So if you need somebody for a flex against a weak defense or something like that, I would pick him up, stash him just in case.
Definitely a good streamer for sure.
For sure, good streamer. Breece Hall was out there. He 5 for 6 for 39 yards. Garrett Wilson again 6 for 11 for 60 yards. He was the main target. Breece Hall rushed for 54 yards and a touchdown. Even their backup quarterback Taylor came out there and threw 6 for 8 for 36. Yeah, Tyrod 36 yards and a touchdown. It's ridiculous. But on the other side, Brock Purdy 19 for 29, 231 yards, no touchdowns thrown. It was all rushing touchdowns and apparently field goals, 6 of them, I believe.
So let me ask you a question. Lazard had 2 touchdowns. Would you rather have Lazard or Mike Williams? Because the Jets signed Mike Williams this offseason thinking he was going to stretch the field and be the deep threat.
I think he was more of a distraction. But if I had to pick, if Aaron Rodgers is playing Aaron Rodgers' way, I'd rather have Lazard because I know there's a connection, and I know there's a connection there.
I'm kind of leaning that way too, brother. I think, I wrote that down, like Lazard versus Williams. I think at this point, after week 1, I think I'm leaning Lazard.
Yeah, I would. If you need a stash spot, I'd take Lazard. Also, just for fun, Deebo Samuel was out there rushing again, 8 attempts for 23 yards and a touchdown. So that's obviously something you want to keep an eye on. He was 5 for 9 for 54 in the air. Jennings out there, 5 for 5 for 64. George Kittle, 4 for 5, 40. Jacuzzi, I don't know how to pronounce his name, 2 for 3 for 40.
Use check.
Yeah. Brandon
Kyle Jacuzzi.
Brandon Ayuk, 2 for 5, 28 yards. I like Jacuzzi better.
I mean, that would be a hell of a nickname. Yo, I'm Jacuzzi.
Oh God. I need an adult.
Okay. All right. Well, boy, that was a lot of games, dude.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Week 1 was jam-packed with stuff.
Also, I wanted to point out Caleb Williams, first time in, I think, 24, 25 years that a rookie quarterback, I think the stat was. I think the stat was 20 or 24 years that a quarterback went out there and didn't throw 100 yards.
Yeah, for a first-round quarterback.
First-round quarterback, yeah.
Terrible. Look, I just want to give the people a little nugget on FanDuel. One lineup. Just tell me what you think. You got Josh Allen, James Conner. Chuba Hubbard laid the biggest egg. A big stinky egg. He was terrible. Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin. And then check this out. For a couple of duds, Amon-Ra and Greg
Amon-Ra
Dulcich
killed every single one of my lineups.
Yes, he did. He scored a 2.8 on FanDuel.
He did.
And then Cooper Kupp came back and flexed with a 28 points, dude.
I think something we should start doing is getting our DFS lines and putting them out on Instagram for people to come to and check out. We'll get some together for DraftKings, some from FanDuel, maybe some prize picks in there, something like that. This is all a work in progress. This second episode.
It's a good idea, dude. Let's get some DFS things out to the diners, man. They're sitting here having tea and crumpets. Let's do that.
Yeah, I'll try to get you just for are they doing Friday night games for the whole season now?
No,
just week one. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. So what I'll try to do is get you just a Thursday night game and then Sunday. And just stuff like that. We're trying to get it all together. We got full-time jobs and again, we do this as a hobby and we love to do it. And we appreciate anybody who's still stuck around this long. Sorry about that.
You good?
Yeah, 20 something years of bad decisions will do that. But
that's that kitchen life, dog.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I think it's about time to wrap it up. So
well, before we do you have any thoughts moving into week 2? What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to?
I'm excited to see if I would like Jamar Chase to get his contract so I can confidently start Joe Burrow again. But from what you've seen this week, don't panic on certain people that are good players just because they didn't play good week 1. Week 1's always been a weird time. It's always been defensive heavy. Most quarterbacks didn't perform well this week, and the ones that did, they did. That is what it is. But just keep up with practices for your injured players. Always look for the best picks that you can. Just go with the stats, brother. They don't lie.
You're right, dude. And also, my final thoughts are, listen, all you fantasy players out there, it is week 1. Let's not freak out. Do not hit the panic button. Do not enter your panic room. Let's just move on. Yeah. It was a weird week. Let's keep it moving, and let's have a stellar week 2, and I'm totally pumped for it. Listen, y'all, catch us on Instagram at DFD Underdog. I'm sorry, Underdog. Look, now you got me messed up.
Hey, did we go over the Falcons game?
On
I don't think we did.
Right now?
Yeah.
No, we didn't. Do you really want to go over?
I'm just saying.
Game?
No, we're not going to go over the entire game but just to keep an eye out, Justin Fields is likely to start again next week.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Yeah, so
other than that, there's nothing to talk about from that game.
He's got his touchdown.
It was hot garbage.
Yeah, it was bad.
All right, y'all. Us on Instagram at DFD_podcast. Check us out on Spotify at DFD Podcast.
DFD-podcast.
We appreciate all of you diners for sticking in here for week 2. Episode 2 with us. We appreciate you so much. Stick with us. We're going to continue to build. This is going to continue to grow. And I am just so honored that we have people that are going to be with us from day one. All you day one diners out there, shout out.
I just want to give a quick little update. We are aware that the YouTube audio is not good. The picture of it's just there because we don't have an actual video. So I just had to put a little frame up there, and that's what it was. So, but the audio, we're working on that for YouTube. Spotify is much more crisp. But again, thank you everybody who's been with us since day one. We are friends and family, and all you new listeners and stuff like that. Hopefully, we appreciate it. We love you guys. Thank you so much. And I think that's going to be it from for Dan and for Carrie here at the DFD Diner. We love you guys. Catch you next week. Good luck out there.
Peace.